I sold a $400 seed. A few days later, a $600 check came in the mail from a company that I don't work at anymore. And it said 401k, whenever. I called the people, they couldn't figure out what it was. They were like, they were asking me, is this 401k? I was like, I don't know. I got 3 job interviews, side hustles, where I don't got to commit to the job. I ain't got to work 40 hours. I can work whenever I decide. They messaged me making $19, $20 an hour. I got $1 raise at my other job. Now I'm making $16 an hour. Now I got jobs making $4 more. Then somehow I landed in a Bible college. Somehow I landed in a church. Somehow I landed in God Has a Woman for me. Somehow a ring opened up. Somehow, yeah. So I can go down the list. When you sow, you reap. But I wanted to tell you something that I've learned throughout. I'm a sower. I've given lots. I love giving. I believe in the power of just sacrificial giving when not even intentionally being able to know what God's going to do or defying all logics. And I've had many people tell me, Matthew, you're not being wise. And I would listen to them. But there were times when I just gave everything. Many times where I just gave all my money. I was desperate. And I was willing to make that sacrifice because I believed and I had faith. And I took those steps to just all out sacrifice. Okay. But what I've learned is you can sow and God can bring a new car. He can bring more money. He can bring all these things. But if you're not ready, you're not going to receive. So a lot of times people are sowing, but they're like, why am I not reaping physically? So in my life, I would sow, and there were times when God would bring a car to me. Many years ago, I could have been making $6 more, $7. He brought jobs to me. He brought opportunities to me, but I wasn't ready for those opportunities. I was spending my money foolishly. I wasn't saving. I wasn't investing. I wasn't preparing. I wasn't ready. So when the harvest came, I wasn't ready for it. Now the spiritual harvest is always mine. Anytime you sow into the hand of God, you're going to reap a new level of glory. You're going to reap an eternity spiritually. But the physical harvest, and this is what I know from experience, you could sow, be given seeds, but the opportunity comes, the job comes, the wife comes, and you're not ready. So don't think you're necessary. And I've learned in my life, there's many times, like I said, I could have been making way more money. I could have had all kind of physical manifestations, but I wasn't ready. I was being foolish. I was immature. I didn't have enough wisdom. I didn't have enough roots. I was all over the place. I didn't esteem this. I was worrying more about spending money on a nice computer than saving up for a car. And there were times, so many times I can say in my life, when God would bring a physical harvest, but yet I wouldn't fully receive it. But it would come back around. So I just learned that. So a lot of times we go to church and say, sow when you're going to reap. A lot of times we read the Bible, sow when you're going to reap. Okay, you're going to sow, and yeah, you're going to reap. But when you're being foolish and when you're not really being wise, then you're not going to reap that physical harvest. Because the ultimate prize is Jesus. The ultimate prize is his spiritual transformation, which is eternal. But on this side of earth, we want cars. We want financial promotion. But I believe, and I'm just telling you from 10 years of experience, I believe you can miss that because I missed it many times and I was sowing big. And trust me, I got spiritual harvests beyond human imagination. I got God revealed glory. You want to talk about, I got those, but there were other things that he wanted to give to me that I didn't really receive at the time. Okay. So what I wanted to say and what I just felt led to say is you sow, but you got to be prepared to reap. A lot of people ain't prepared to reap. You ain't saving. You ain't waiting. You know, I feel like I feel like the Lord's going to bring me a car, but you ain't saving money. You spending all your money on video games, but you sowed a $30 seed in faith, and that seed of faith, and God's going to move. And then somebody calls you like, well, I ain't got money right now. How many times does that happen in our life over and over? Somebody comes up to you, hey, I got this job offer, but it's going to be $1 less than what you have, but you didn't realize he was going to promote you and it was going to be $10 more than you had, but you thought in your flesh and you weren't looking in your spirit, yet it was an opportunity from God. How many times does this happen in our life every day? I had a job, or I had an opportunity with a multi-billion-dollar business that you see all over you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't willing to walk to it. I didn't have a car. I wasn't willing to take Uber because I didn't like being around people. So and they kept trying to fight to get me. They kept saying, Matthew, we're giving you a free course on life insurance. They gave me all this and they were fighting, and the lady kept calling me, I could have been making $40,000 a month, yet I wasn't ready for it. Now in my life, I don't live in regret. I realize the value of each opportunity, but I realize the value of preparing for the harvest, to receive the harvest, to receive your wife. And it's a state of preparation and taking care of your responsibilities, which, okay, goes on and on the list. So I feel like that's good wisdom. I feel like that's good God knowledge. And so now I'm saving my money because I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm looking at every opportunity and just running to it instead of I don't want to do this. So I'm willing to make that sacrifice. Okay. So you sow, but be ready to reap. Because I believe the spirit realm, it's looking at the physical realm, and the spirit realm's like, okay, well, we can just give them money, but not while you ain't being wise. Not when you just gonna wait. I don't think God's really gonna release a financial blessing if you're just gonna waste it. And I think if he does, knowing that you're gonna waste it because your character and your integrity isn't up to par, and he gives you a wife, you're gonna waste it. If God gives you something good, you're gonna waste it, or you're gonna curse it, or you're gonna treat it as dung. And so he won't release it, even though, one thing I learned about the seeds you sow, they're stored in the